DeepSeek just released an AI model that's faster than GPT-4 and costs a fraction of the price, and nobody's talking about why. Look, I know that sounds like hyperbole. It's not. What happened in the last few weeks is a genuine inflection point in how we think about AI speed and efficiency. And if you're using ChatGPT or Claude for work right now, you need to understand what just shifted. So here's the thing. For the last year and a half, the narrative has been locked in place. Bigger models, more compute, more money. OpenAI throws billions at training, and you pay $15 a month for slightly faster responses. That's the deal. But DeepSeek, a Chinese AI lab that most people in the West have never heard of, just proved that entire assumption wrong. They built a model called DeepSeek v3, and the benchmarks are wild. On coding tasks, it's matching or beating GPT-4 Turbo. On reasoning, it's trading blows with the best models out there. But here's the part that actually matters. It's doing it with a fraction of the training compute that OpenAI used. We're talking about a difference of orders of magnitude. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but is it actually faster to use? Yes. DeepSeek's inference speed, the time it takes to process your prompt and spit out an answer, is genuinely faster than ChatGPT on comparable hardware. And the cost is something like 95% cheaper than OpenAI's API pricing. That's not a rounding error. That's a complete restructuring of the economics. So how did they do it? This is where it gets interesting, because it's not magic. It's a combination of three things that everyone in the industry knew were possible, but nobody really prioritized. First, better training efficiency. DeepSeek used something called Mixture of Experts, or MO. Think of it like this. Instead of one giant brain processing every single token, you have multiple smaller brains, and only the ones that are relevant to the task actually activate. It's like having 10 people in a room, but only 3 of them actually need to pay attention to solve the current problem. The rest stay dormant. That means you're not wasting compute on irrelevant calculations. OpenAI's models use dense architectures, where everything processes everything. It's more wasteful, but it's also what they've optimized for. Second, smarter data curation. DeepSeek didn't just throw random internet text at the model. They were surgical about what training data actually improved performance. That sounds obvious, but in practice, most labs just scale up the dataset and hope for the best. DeepSeek actually filtered, evaluated, and prioritized. Better signal, less noise. Third, and this is the part that's going to sound weird, they trained it differently. They used something called multi-token prediction during training, where the model learns to predict multiple tokens ahead at once instead of just one. That forces the model to develop a deeper understanding of patterns and causality. It's like the difference between learning to play chess by memorizing individual moves versus learning to think 3 moves ahead. The model gets smarter faster. Now, here's where this gets actually important for you. The speed barrier that everyone thought was fundamental. Well, good models are just slow because they're thinking hard. That barrier just got demolished. And that changes everything. For developers, it means you can run inference locally or on cheap hardware. You're not locked into paying OpenAI's cloud tax anymore. For researchers, it means the playing field just leveled. You don't need a $100 billion company to build state-of-the-art models. For regular people, it means faster, cheaper AI tools are coming fast. But here's the thing nobody's saying out loud. OpenAI's business model just got a lot shakier. They've been betting on the idea that they're the only ones who can build fast, capable models, and therefore they can charge premium prices. DeepSeek just showed that assumption was wrong. The moat is smaller than everyone thought. Now, does this mean OpenAI is finished? No. They'll adapt. They'll probably move toward other advantages, better fine-tuning, better integration, better product. But the era where they could just charge premium prices because they were the only ones who could build fast models, that's over. There's also a geopolitical angle here that's worth mentioning. DeepSeek is Chinese, and they just out-innovated the American AI establishment on speed and efficiency. That's going to matter for how governments think about AI regulation and investment. Don't be surprised if you see policy shifts in the next 6 months. But let me be clear about what this is not. This is not about one model being better than another in some abstract sense. Models are trade-offs. DeepSeek's model is incredible at speed and efficiency. OpenAI's models have other strengths. The point is that the speed barrier everyone thought was physics just turned out to be engineering. So if you're building anything with AI right now, or thinking about it. You need to know that the cost structure just changed. The performance ceiling just moved. The competitive landscape just got a lot more interesting. This is exactly the kind of shift that matters if you actually want to stay ahead of what's happening in AI, instead of just reading headlines. If you want to understand these inflection points as they happen, not 6 months after they've already reshuffled the industry, subscribe. I break down one of these every few days, and they matter way more than the hype cycle would suggest.